acknowledge that we're meeting on the land of the Boonwurrung and the Boonwurrung people of the Kulin Nation, and I acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded. It always was and always will be Aboriginal land. My name's Bronwyn Currie, and I'm here today to speak with you on an issue that affects millions of women and girls across the globe: violence against women. We're here together because we share a collective belief in one fundamental truth. Everyone deserves to live in safety, dignity and respect, and yet for far too many women, this is not their reality. In Australia alone, 1 in 3 women have experienced physical or sexual violence at some point in their lives, and globally, this epidemic continues to grow. With every minute that passes, someone, somewhere, becomes a victim of violence. This violence takes many forms: physical, emotional, sexual, financial, and psychological. It happens in homes, in workplaces, in public spaces, and behind closed doors. And it often goes unreported, hidden in the silence of fear, shame, and isolation. The truth is, violence against women is not just a women's issue. It is a societal issue that affects us all. Every time a woman is harmed, it impacts families, communities, and the very fabric of our society. It perpetuates a cycle of trauma that can last for generations, and often leaving survivors to deal with the physical and emotional scars that never fully heal. We have to ask ourselves, why does this continue to happen? Why? In a world that claims to prioritise human rights, does gender-based violence persist? The answer is complex, but one thing is very clear. Violence against women is rooted in power imbalances, gender equality, and harmful cultural norms. And why, when we've marched and rallied, we've lobbied the government, we've built shelters, we've held reviews, we've made policy changes, why? Why? It is perpetuated by the belief that somehow women are less valuable, less capable, and less worthy of respect than men in our society. And it thrives in environments where women are silenced, blamed, and disempowered. We are here today because we are not silent, and we will not be silenced. We must speak up, we must speak out and take action, and we demand change. In 2021, I saw a tweet by a woman who is now a dear friend of mine, Janine Hendry. On hearing that an assault had occurred in the very place where our laws are made, she asked for enough women to join together to encircle our Australian Parliament and say collectively, enough is enough. Well, the response was overwhelming, and it was visceral. In just 2 weeks, incredible women came together, working 24/7, and we staged national rallies with over 120,000 participants, calling on the government to demand change and to make women safe and equal. I organised the Melbourne March for Justice, and we had over 20,000 people attend in the middle of a pandemic. Nothing was keeping us at home, preventing us from demanding that our safety be on the political agenda. And why did I get involved? Because like so many women, I've experienced family violence, and I had to do something about it, and this was my opportunity. Although when it happened to me, I didn't understand it, partly because I had lived under the influence of someone with a significant personality disorder who over 15 years had systematically removed every shred of my self-worth, and I was hollow. When trying to leave him, I went to court on police advice to obtain an order against him. In my distress, I didn't have the right words. The court clerk, as they rolled their eyes at me, suggested I go home, as I obviously wasn't broken or bleeding. I went home dejected. I had nowhere else to turn, I thought, and I didn't know what else to do. But soon after, the police were required to assist, and they took out an order against him to protect me and my then 5 children under age 12. A decade forward, I have my power back. And to anyone experiencing it now, trust me, you do find yourself again. But as we have come to know, leaving is the most dangerous time. He threatened to kill me and my children, and that it would look like an accident. I lived in fear for a long time, and I was stalked and harassed for a long time. And yes, he hurt our pets to hurt us. And a lot of people don't know about that part, the coercive control. We lost our family home in order to pay legal fees to obtain full custody of my children. And when going through family court, it's just another kind of hell. And when I was going through this, there was no free legal service available. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad I made it, because we know that many don't. As of yesterday, 92 women have been killed in Australia this year. It's getting worse. Ending violence against women requires more than just laws and policies. It requires a shift in our collective consciousness. It requires each of us to examine our beliefs, our attitudes, and our actions. Are we perpetuating harmful stereotypes, even unintentionally? Are we standing up for women when we witness violence or discrimination? Are we teaching the next generation about equality, respect, and consent? To truly end violence against women, we need to create a culture of respect where women are valued as equals, not just objects, and where consent is not just a concept but treated as the fundamental human right that it is. One where we hold perpetrators accountable and ensure that survivors receive the care, support and justice they deserve. And we must also remember that violence against women does not discriminate. It happens across all cultures, all socioeconomic backgrounds, all racial groups. And women of colour, Indigenous women, disabled women, LGBTQI+ women and migrant women face heightened risk of violence, often compounded by additional layers of marginalisation and oppression. So this means that when we talk about stopping violence against women, we must acknowledge and address the unique challenges faced by the most vulnerable women in our society. Every day, women are fighting back, survivors are speaking out, and allies are standing with you. Thank you to the men who are here today. We appreciate your solidarity. We demand that governments take action to provide adequate resources and legal protection for women, and we're pushing for better education, better awareness and better support systems, and we're starting to see results. The road ahead is still long. Every day women are still being abused, assaulted and killed, and every day more lives are taken, more potential, more dreams, and leaving trauma in the wake of ever-growing loss. And that's why our work is not finished. We need more than words, we need action. So I ask today, what role will you play in ending violence against women? Will you stand up when you see something wrong? Will you challenge the norms and behaviours that perpetuate violence? And will you support survivors and be a voice for those who are silenced? Ending violence against women requires all of us. It requires men, women and children. It requires governments and businesses, communities and individuals. We have to unite to create a world where women and girls are safe, respected, valued and equal. And I still have hope, and I believe that we will get there. Thank you all for your attention. I really appreciate you hearing me today.